Anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. Hotspots magazine previews RuPaul's Drag Race Season 18, introducing 14 queens, a historic first mother-daughter duo, new challenges, and a $200,000 prize awaits.
The House passed a bill criminalizing gender-affirming care for transgender minors, alarming advocates, though the measure is expected to fail.
Councilwoman drew backlash after telling students that trauma caused her daughter to be lesbian, then apologizing amid calls for censure.
Pornhub confirms breach, exposing millions of user search data, raising privacy fears, sextortion risks, and heightened concern for the LGBTQ community anonymity.
Conservative group pressures Trump administration to scrutinize LGBTQ themes in Netflix children's shows amid approval of Netflix Warner Brothers Discovery merger. All this important LGBTQ plus news and more this evening on Queer News Tonight. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news television show, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
Analytics company vidIQ has certified the Queer News Tonight YouTube channel as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 11 million views.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida.
We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in our rainbow family. There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Thursday, December 18th, and we are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we will tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show.
Hotspots magazine, happening on our television network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model as PBS and NPR, but created for the LGBTQ community. Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are proud to be part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network. In 2025, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 11,000 LGBTQ television stories.
We present South Florida's major LGBTQ events, including Pride Fort Lauderdale, Stonewall Pride, and Pride Fest. Our magazine, events, television, news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2025, more than 100 community leaders will sit at this table and share their voice as our anchors. Together, we host this show to support the LGBTQ community. Let's meet this evening's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Alex Morash. Alex has served as an editor-in-chief of Options Magazine, media director of the National LGBTQ Task Force, and press secretary for the Florida Democratic Party. Welcome to the show, Alex.
Thank you for having me, Jeff. And I just want to say to everyone from Rhode Island, I'm so sorry to hear what happened at Brown University. My heart goes out to everyone there. So.
Let's welcome anchor Larry Farver. Larry has over 20 years of experience in human resources, acting, film, radio, TV, live events, parade, float design, production, and casting. He is also a board member of the West Side Association. Welcome to the show, Larry.
Thank you, Jeff. If I may just take a moment.
Sure.
Last week we publicized an event that's very near and dear to my heart as a board member of the West Side Association. We're proud to partner at Mickle Park tomorrow evening at 6:30 for a 7 o'clock show with South Florida Pride Band. So it's a nice show. It's well worth it. It's free. Bring your blankets or chairs. You certainly can bring your own food, but we are running a volunteer concession stand by the West Side Association.
Nice.
So we'll have pizza, fresh from Dolce Salato, and a lot of other things, including alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks. So please come join us if you can.
Yeah, it's great to support the South Florida Pride has performed for us for Hollywood Pride before, and they're excellent. So
Yeah,
definitely
and a
check
very
them out.
good eclectic music selection this year too.
That's great.
It's a wonderful park, and who can go wrong with Dolce and Gelatos, pizza, and booze? Like, what else does one need in life?
That's right. There you go.
Let's welcome anchor Dr. Bobby Huen. A world traveler and well-versed in global affairs, Bobby provides an international perspective on current events. A PhD in conflict resolution, Bobby is a certified civil and family mediator and the founder of BH Conflict Resolution Services. Welcome to the show, Bobby.
Thank you, Jeff. How are you doing?
I'm
Long
good.
time no see.
Long time no see.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, Jeff Oliverio. Jeff Oliverio is the founder and president of the Hollywood LGBTQ+ Council and serves as co-chair for the upcoming 5th annual My Hollywood Pride, which returns in January of 2026. He also serves on the Save Gala Committee. Jeff is a director and certified financial planner with Truist Wealth based in Fort Lauderdale. And welcome to the show, Jeff. How are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here on a Thursday. We're, as we said before, super excited. Hollywood Pride is coming back in January 24th, 2026. But tonight, one thing I wanted to highlight is one of our most special satellite events that we host for Hollywood Pride is the Pride 100 Brunch, named after we first received a perfect 100 score on the Municipal Equality Index for the city of Hollywood. This will be, in addition, our 5th year in a row that we received a 100 score. And at this event, we honor 2 trailblazers this year. We are going to be recognizing Lisa Tuminello, who leads the Big Pride program for Big Brothers Big Sisters, who has served on the Hollywood LGBTQ Council board, is an amazing ally, and has also been part of our Pride Committee. And we are also honoring Spencer Badius from the Seminole Tribe, who is a LGBTQ entertainer, playwright, and an amazing talent. And obviously from here in our local Hollywood community, the event will be on the Saturday before Pride on January 17th from 11 to 1 p.m. at the Doubletree Resort and Hotel on Hollywood Beach. Again, from 11 to 1 p.m. Go to myhollywoodpride.com or to Eventbrite for tickets. It will be open bar, bubbly, Campari cocktails, all kinds of fun stuff. We're going to have the Miami Gay Choir there performing. So it should be a really fun day. So hope we'll see you there.
Awesome. So the brunch is on the 17th. What day is Pride the next day on the Sunday?
Pride is actually Pride is this year is moving to a Saturday. So we'll be the following Saturday. So we have brunch the Saturday before, and then Pride will be the following Saturday.
All right, because I'm going to be updating my calendar when we're done with the show. So it's January, what is the exact date of Pride?
The 24th.
24th. All right, because I'll just tell you, I went to Jeff's Pride last year, and it was wonderful. I had so much fun. So many people are there. You have so much going on. I have no idea how you're going to be able to, survive Christmas and then get ready for a Pride in 3 weeks, but it looks like you pull it off so well each time.
It's a good question, but thank you for asking. Yeah, hopefully we'll see you all there, but thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate it. I'm Jeff Oliverio, and let's queer up gay culture. Hotspots magazine spotlights RuPaul's Drag Race Season 18 in new issue. Our Hotspots Happening Out LGBTQ lifestyle magazine, Hotspots, is back with features on the fierce return of RuPaul's Drag Race as MTV reveals the cast for Season 18 of the Emmy Award-winning global phenomenon. Premiering Friday, January 2nd at 8 p.m. with 90-minute episodes, the new season welcomes 14 sickening queens into the workroom, all competing for the title of America's Next Drag Superstar, an official makeup collaboration with Anastasia Beverly Hills Cosmetics, and a $200,000 cash prize courtesy of RuPaul's Drag Race Match Queen. The premiere episode kicks off with a challenge, Reclaim, Renew, Rejoice, as queens pay tribute to Drag Race legends by creating signature looks using treasures from the Drag Race vaults. Expect charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent in full force. Fan favorites in the making include Miami's Athena Dion and Juicy Love Dion, making Drag Race history as the first ever mother-daughter duo to compete together alongside queens from across the country, bringing fashion, comedy, glamour, and edge. Your free copy of the issue of Hotspots magazine is already on stands. First, I want to comment on the cover of Hotspots. Is a great friend to Hollywood Pride, Ali Lee. He's gracing the cover for the New Year issue and looks amazing and is an amazing talent and an amazing friend. So congratulations, Ellie. And we couldn't go, I think, a show without saying how excited are we to have Athena Dion and Juicy Love Dion competing to represent South Florida. Athena is not only a friend, but also someone who is a huge advocate and force in our community, shows up for all of our nonprofit events, gives her all to represent South Florida. I have had the pleasure of traveling to Greece to see Athena perform in Greece and Mykonos as well. So she is not a South Florida phenomenon, she is a global phenomenon. So we wish Athena and Juicy lots of luck.
I think it was very easy on the eyes cover, so I'm nice to see that he's a local boy. Drag Race, this is a very important season for them, and I say that because we just all, the internet just finished watching Dragula Titans 2, and they brought it to such a new level. They're doing so much more interesting things, and I just look at Drag Race, and it's looking like Drag Race could be left behind. And this is the season I think it's the make or break season for Drag Race.
Well, I'm sorry. If you saw the photo shoots that they're releasing some images from, at least I saw a lot of Athena's. I mean, they are the promo shots are over the top. I mean, they're amazing.
Yeah, but it's the same, the nice dresses, these new queens that are coming out in the other parts of the drag world now. They're doing huge props, huge sets, huge prosthetics. They 3D print stuff now. I'm like, I remember back in the old days where if you pulled some rose petals out of your wig, it was a big deal. And now we're looking at this whole new drag world. So we'll see if Drag Race can compete. It'll be a fascinating race to watch.
Yes.
I just wanted to add, I think it's great that the show has taken off like it has. I remember when it first came out, like you mentioned, but I think right now with all the anti-LGBTQ coming from the right and anti-drag here, Florida and other states, this just shows the world that we will always be here. We can do it better in the entertainment world, and that's the final snap,
and yes, we do need to remind everyone, I was alive for the first season of Drag Race. I know. Who would have known?
You were watching that as a toddler. Wow.
I'm so old. I met Nina Flowers, when she was a DJ at a club once. It was super cool, yeah.
Interesting.
Love me some Nina Flowers.
I'm Alex Morash, and let's queer up politics. House passes first ever federal ban on gender-affirming care for trans youth with Democratic support. The U.S. House has passed a bill that would criminalize gender-affirming medical care for transgender minors, marking the first time Congress has approved a national ban on this care. The measure passed late Wednesday by a narrow vote of 216 to 211 and now heads to the Senate, where it is expected to fail. The bill, introduced by far-right Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, would make it a felony for doctors to provide puberty blockers, hormone therapy, or surgeries to patients under 18. Parents who consent to or help their child access care could also face criminal charges and prison time. According to Representative Mark Takano, chair of the Congressional Equality Caucus, quote, "This bill is the most extreme anti-transgender legislation to ever pass the House of Representatives. This bill is beyond cruel, and its passage would forever be a stain on the institution of the United States Congress," end quote. 3 Democrats joined Republicans in supporting the bill: North Carolina Rep. Dawn Davis and Texas Reps Henry Cuellar and Vincent Gonzalez. LGBTQ plus advocates warn the vote alone would chill care nationwide. These are some of the worst Democrats. One of the rep from Texas, Cuellar, I think he's the one that had money found in his fridge by the FBI 10 years ago, if memory serves. But, I want to add, there's a lot happening here. I know we know that this bill doesn't look like it's going anywhere, but HHS has also said to hospitals today, we're going to try and pull federal funding if you do gender-affirming care for minors. This attack on trans kids and trans families and the parents of trans people and the medical community is beyond the pale, what we're seeing. And it's a reminder we have a few problems. One, that, I know some of us like to think maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene's a good person once in a while, because she says, in her fever dream, she occasionally says something good. She's still crazy, kids. Remember that. But also, we've created these systems where it's now so easy for the Republicans to dismantle health care and take our rights away. We really have to ask ourselves what sort of country we want to live in.
I mean, this is just the tip of an iceberg. I mean, just today alone, the White House want to denaturalize naturalized citizen just because they want to ramp up
for being trans?
No, for just being disagreeable to the White House, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, when do they have any rhyme and reason to denaturalize or deport anybody? They don't.
Of course, but I think the story here is about how they're specifically targeting trans kids and the healthcare providers.
Segments of population for the deportation and denaturalization. To make no mistake, you think a Swedish immigrant is going to want to get denaturalized? No.
Of course.
But all of it just comes down to one point: cruelty. Cruelty is the entire point of this administration. They don't care about public decency. They don't care about whatever is actually the right thing to do. This is just about inflicting pain on a segment of the population that the White House, specifically some people in the White House, deem inferior.
Of course, but also don't forget, it was a 216 to 211 vote. If those three Democrats didn't help the Republicans along, the bill would have failed. That, to me, is probably the most shocking thing of this.
Yeah. Larry, what were you saying?
Yeah, I was just going to say briefly, the ramifications too. You shift from providing gender-affirming care to, then having spikes in mental health. And that's going to that has to be covered if you have insurance. You also look at the ramifications. If people can't get something here, we've seen it with just general cosmetic procedures. People will go for gender-affirming care where they can, if they can afford to go outside of the country, and that could have dangerous consequences as well.
And some of the stuff that was banning puberty blockers for people under 18. I had a friend in college. She was cis-het girl. She had to take puberty blockers at 10 or 11 because her puberty started just way too young, and the dangers, you're not supposed to start at that time. It's a normal medical thing. The idea that we would ban it, it's insanity.
Well, I mean, I will echo your sentiment. We're talking about staying on Congress. I think that's Marjorie Taylor Greene's nickname, right? Or she's doing this apology tour when she looked like she was somewhat reasonable, and then she, obviously is the person that introduced this bill. She is a hateful woman, and she's hateful towards our community. And also, let's remind her again, the administration releasing these, the HHS and Trump trying to withhold funding. It is a distraction from the fact that Trump is being decimated because the economy is going in the wrong direction. And he did a 18-minute tirade last night naming transgender as one of the topics, culture wars, at the top of a prime time speech. So the attacks by this administration against LGBTQ people, especially the trans community, are always brought back and again and again and again when they want to distract and take away from all of the failures that they're having, whether it's Epstein files, whether it's attacking, starting a war without authorization, the fact that we still have prices are not going down, even though the job, unemployment is going up. The administration is failing and flailing. So what are they going to go back to? They're going to go back to culture wars. So let's not forget this is probably going to be more of the same, especially as we head into the midterm elections.
That was a very bizarre thing to watch last night, if anyone else caught it.
Frightening.
Oh my God! First, he's the shadow of his former self. He just looks like he's about to die at any moment. And he claimed that he brought peace to the Middle East for the first time in 3,000 years. And I was like, that's just
prove it.
Yeah, it's just nice to know that we just say crazy stuff now.
Yeah. It's like someone waking up from like a coma and they start talking all kinds of crazy and they go back down. That was kind of what it reminded you of. They just propped him up there.
Old man yell at cloud.
Yeah,
The Simpsons. The immortal clip of The Simpsons. Old man yells at cloud.
I'm Larry Farver, and let's queer up the USA View. California Councilmember faces backlash for linking high school trauma to daughter's sexuality. A California City Councilwoman and mayor is under fire after comments she made to a high school conservative club were shared online, angering LGBTQ advocates, students, and families. Lincoln City Councilwoman Holly Andreatta told students at 12 Bridges High School's new club, America, that trauma in her daughter's childhood led to her being gay.
My oldest daughter had a lot of trauma as a child. Something really terrible happened to her when she was very young that I would hope never would happen to any other child. And as a result of it, she's a lesbian, she's gay, and she's married to a woman. And sometimes that's a little bit of internal struggle for me, because I believe that marriage is between a man and a woman, and I believe that scripture is very clear on homosexuality. But on the other side of that, I love her dearly. We are in relationship. And that's what Charlie Kirk's message was, is like, we may not agree. My daughter knows where I stand biblically, but I love her. We're actually going to spend Christmas with her in Missouri. We love her, and we have a child, and I love my grandchild. And I love my daughter-in-law, which is weird to say, right? My daughter's married to a woman. Do you know Christian nationalists and all these names? That's just a name that the left made up to silence people. I am a Christian and I love my nation. Okay, if I'm a Christian nationalist, but they use it in a negative way. But people are afraid to have those labels. Now, let me just clarify. We need to love everybody. We do not need to discriminate. You may not agree with somebody's lifestyle, but we love them and we're kind to them. You can have a difference of opinion. It doesn't mean that you're hateful.
In the same talk, she called Martin Luther King Jr. a Marxist and said his civil rights work was not really helpful. After the video spread, Andreatta first claimed it had been altered by artificial intelligence, writing, quote, "I am the same person I've always been, kind, principled, inclusive, and committed to respectful dialogue," end quote. She later apologized, saying, quote, "I want to publicly apologize to my daughter. To be absolutely clear, I did not say that trauma causes homosexuality," end quote. Students and families have since called for the club's disbandment and for Andreatta to be censored, while school officials say the club cannot be banned. Well, my goodness, she's a confused individual. I would not want to be spending time with a relative if I had someone like that in my family. And while it's, I guess, positive that she's saying she loves her daughter and her grandchild, you know, obviously her message is there and it's not 100% in. That's not true definition of family. You love unconditionally.
Yeah, except that it's not love unconditionally. First of all, Club America by TPUSA. This is another one from Turning Point USA. Let's not pretend to be anything otherwise. This is another new effort to raise another generation of young right-wing activists.
Absolutely.
And second, let's face it, this woman doesn't really love her daughter. She loves the fact that she can trot her out as an example of, oh, look how tolerant I am. I have a lesbian daughter. But to say that her sexuality is informed by trauma growing up, you're her mother. So are you the cause of the trauma? I mean, is that...
It would be nice to know what you...
Yeah, I can imagine living with her would be traumatic. So I could imagine.
And you were laughing entirely.
Well, hearing her was quite laughable, but at the same time, like, I do feel, it's not, no, I'm telling the dark one, everything's wrong with the world, but like, this is probably the most progress I've seen of the LGBTQ community, because like, 15 years ago, we would have been like, it's so nice that she's getting past her biblicalness and like showing how she still loves her daughter and accepts her daughter-in-law as her daughter-in-law. We would have gone that way. We would, and for those of you that don't believe me, go Google stuff that we used to write 15, 20 years ago. And just to see us to finally be like, no, this is like really effed up. Why on earth would we say this is okay? So I'm proud of our community for acknowledging how problematic she is. But at the same time, a part of me is also like, don't we all have that one relative that's a little messed up in this way? And we just feel like, couldn't we just help them just not be this bad? Like, that's sort of the vibe I'm getting. But she's an elected official, so like, she'll get crucified, but hey, she's a Christian nationalist, so she wants to be crucified, right?
Exactly. I mean, and that's the other thing too. The whole, her spiel about like, oh, I'm Christian and I love my country. That doesn't make you a Christian nationalist. Christian nationalist has a very specific agenda, which is to impose a radical version of evangelical Christianity and its morals onto the social fabric of the United States. That's a very different thing. I just want to make it clear. And secondly, I want to bet $1 on it that she finally apologized after her daughter threatened to basically kick her out of holiday dinner.
We haven't addressed the Martin Luther King comments, one, you know. I'm not shocked that Republicans are starting to and conservatives are starting to attack Martin Luther King more, because like, he was a huge critic of capitalism and of the way that we treat black people in this country. Two things the Republican Party is very into. Like when King was shot, it was protesting for janitorial workers.
Yeah.
When he was in jail once, he found out how much the jailer was making, and he's like, okay, you got to get out there and march with us. You're not being paid enough, because they were the poor people's movement at the end of the day. It was about fighting racism and classism. So I'm not surprised that she's using this Marxist language to describe King.
For those who maybe couldn't see it in the story, but really important for here in South Florida, she was standing in front of a sign that said, pero. Pero, this entire story was very, very off-putting on her commentary around what it means to have an LGBTQ daughter, and the saying that, oh yes, I love her, but I love her, pero she's a lesbian. I love my daughter-in-law, pero it's very odd that I'm a Christian and I love my gay children. It is not odd. It is insulting, and your daughter should be ashamed. And the only thing that I think was written by AI was probably that apology letter. So thank you, pero no gracias. So I hope she enjoys her holiday with her lesbian daughter and daughter-in-law. I'm sure that'll be a really warm place around the fire, right? Fun times.
I'm Bobby Huen, and let's queer up gay culture. Pornhub data breach puts millions of users at risk of sextortion. Pornhub has confirmed a major data breach that could expose the search history of more than 200 million users, raising serious privacy concerns, especially for LGBTQ people who rely on online anonymity. In a statement released on December 12 and updated days later, Pornhub said its premium members' data was breached, with the incident dating back to 2023. The company said, quote, "We recently learned that an unauthorized party gained unauthorized access to analytics data stored with Mixpanel, a third-party data analytics service provider. This was not a breach of Pornhub Premium's systems," end quote. Pornhub stressed that no passwords, credentials, payment details, or government IDs were compromised. Still, experts warn the leaked data could be used for sextortion, threatening to expose user viewing histories to family or employers. Reports say the data include email addresses, locations, and detailed search and viewing activity. Pornhub is urging users to stay alert, saying, well, while our investigation is ongoing, we encourage all users to remain vigilant, end quote. Well, you can't really be vigilant for sextortion. I mean, it either happens to you or it doesn't happen to you. And also, secondly, don't we all have a burner email account for platforms like this? Like, we actually put our real name on it?
Well, I think if it's paid, I think you have to put a name of some kind.
Well, no, the breach ones only say email address. The names were not breached. So as long as your name is not your first name, last name at, gmail.com, I'm pretty sure you'll be okay. But the thing is also search history, okay, and it's frightening, obviously, I know, for a lot of people, especially in people who are forced to be closeted in certain countries where being gay or viewing this kind of material is obviously illegal and punishable by severe penalties. However, I gotta laugh at the fact that this is, an analytics company, which means that Pornhub sold our data to someone, or at least gave access data to this particular company, which is the basic reasons for the breach. Wouldn't it be nice if these companies start selling our data to other data brokers?
True. I was thinking that although it's probably very scary for LGBTQ people, it's probably even scarier for conservative Republicans who are probably on Pornhub looking at gay porn.
That's true. I mean, Grindr do crash during a Republican National Convention.
Yeah.
But there's also this other aspect of the story of like taking away the taboo of the idea that people don't look at porn. For those that we've all looked at it, we all look at it way too often. Like that's life, and so many people don't want to acknowledge that. They're like, what do you mean someone could be looking at them? I'm like, of course. That's the main purpose of the internet. Like, there's the old Muppet song for that Broadway, the internet's for porn. Like, that's what this is. Like, I'm surprised it's only 200 million. I would thought it'd been 9 billion.
Yeah.
9 billion is more than the planet's entire population.
Well, I'm sure there are people that used Pornhub 10 years ago that aren't alive today.
Yeah, but
now. Who knows? It's plenty.
but 200 million
a lot.
includes a paying customer. That's just the premium members.
Okay, you're right.
So maybe they have 1 billion. Well, anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I think that if you are concerned, I think it's better to look up your credentials, delete the old email account that you used to sign up for things, and just when someone contacts you with your search history, just pretend that you're not them.
I'm Jeff Oliverio, and let's queer up entertainment. Conservative group urges the Trump administration to target LGBTQ plus kids content in Netflix merger review. A conservative Christian group is urging the Trump administration to scrutinize LGBTQ plus representation in Netflix's children's programming as the streamer seeks approval for its massive merger with Warner Bros. Discovery. Concerned Women for America released a report this month examining queer themes in Netflix kids content. CEO and President Penny Nance accused the platform of pushing an anti-child, anti-family agenda, claiming children's shows have been infiltrated by adult preoccupations with sexual preferences and gender identity. Our new report reveals that children's programming is not exempt from identity politics, a drastic departure from its historic role. These are shocking numbers, and most parents are unaware, end quote. Netflix recently announced a fully financed deal to acquire Warner Bros. Discovery, valuing the company at $82.7 billion. The merger has already sparked backlash from lawmakers and labor groups. Nance is now calling on regulators to intervene. She said, quote, "The government should make that part of the conversation of this merger. There should be an outside, independent counsel that represents the interests of parents reviewing program ratings." Wow, a lot to unpack there. Obviously, this is a story about, again, the conservatives who are the party of freedom, favoring censorship. They're afraid of anything that doesn't agree with their agenda, and it is not what this country is based on. The second thing is, the government getting involved in business deals, and putting their thumb on the scale. Obviously, we do have regulations around mergers, but this is, of course, as with everything, Trump really putting himself out there to, put his finger on the scale for this deal, not specifically for this story, but, in reference to things like 60 Minutes, and how they're criticizing him, and should he be favoring Paramount over Netflix, and who gives him better coverage. So again, this is not about freedom at all. It's about a lot of heavy-handed government intervention in both business and culture wars.
Yeah. Well, the Netflix merger is trying to create a monopoly. Under a normal government, you wouldn't see this sort of attempted merger, but they think Trump's administration is so laissez-faire, they'll let it go through. But the thing is, you have two things going on here. You have one, should the government do the merger or not do the merger, and how should the government nitpick the merger, this stuff. The other thing is the false narrative that Netflix does a lot of LGBTQ content, because they used to. They used to do a lot of great LGBTQ content when it was first a streaming service, but people on there, they've been criticizing it what was that new show they just did? Boots. It didn't get renewed, and the rumor is because the second season would be a little bit more like the hockey players that touch each other too much. What's it called? Heated rivalry. It'd be a lot more touchy, the stuff we all want to watch. But Netflix didn't want to go that gay. Well, and you've seen this happen again and again, where Netflix has been more and more removing, but Netflix has been not doing anywhere near as much queer content as they used to.
But the thing is, though, and this is the thing, the administration don't want this deal. The administration is actually opposing this deal.
But is it because they want the Paramount? That's still a huge merger, Bob.
I mean, I'm not saying that it's not a huge merger. I'm saying that Netflix's deal came out of nowhere and blindsided the administration, and now the Paramount is scrambling to basically try to convince the shareholders that they'll pay more for their shares. But the bottom line is, the thumb on the scale is on the Paramount side, and also the fact that this whole TV show, children's TV show thing, this would not have happened if the conservatives hasn't chased children's TV show off PBS, off network TV. There were safeguards in place back in the day for NPR to air Sesame Street to make sure the topics are appropriate for children. And then there's network TV. Of course, they certainly are not going to have to discuss sexuality at 9 o'clock for Saturday morning cartoons. But the conservatives has stripped away funding for public broadcasting children's programs. So where do they run? They run to people who can pay them, and who can pay them on Netflix and HBO.
So, Bobby, the reason they don't want to talk about Sesame Street is Sesame Street was originally designed to be a multiracial urban TV show. Like, it's literally, they were like, oh, it's never been identity politics and children's shows. Like, no, they originally were designed to show diversity.
To complement what you're saying there, Alex, I look back, I recently saw a post that in the 1960s, Charles Schulz posted for the first time a black character, Franklin. He was one of the kids. And there was a lot of backlash on that. And Charles Schulz basically said, I will quit the comic strip if this doesn't go forward. And we have to be strong during these times. I think also it's interesting that Netflix is about to emerge in building a major studio. They bought Port Monmouth, which is a former Army base in New Jersey, which is big, right near Asbury Park, which is a very gay city. And to think that, they may buckle under political pressure, I encourage certainly Netflix to be strong through this. It's called evolution, going back to the example of a black character in a comic strip and the Peanuts to coming to today. Kids need something to relate to, no matter how they...
But the one thing I will say on this, regardless of if Paramount or Netflix buys Warner Brothers, your streaming is going to get more expensive and it's going to be less diverse.
I agree with, the merger has some negatives, but I will say, and again, obviously, I think companies have to do what they have to do under the current administration. But at the end of the day, these companies cannot survive without eyeballs. So if they don't put compelling things on that a lot of people are going to watch, Heated Rivalry is probably the most talked about HBO show, even though it's not even from HBO. It's not from their
Canada.
Yeah. But again, for the LGBT community, probably since like Sex and the City, it has so much, and so those buzz things only happen if you're going to put on milquetoast, middle of the road programming, you're not going to get eyeballs. So, what they're doing under the current administration, I don't know that that'll be their long-term strategy, because that is not a long-term strategy. There's that content is people are going to say, oh, well, if you can't put it on Netflix, we're going to produce it for YouTube. And then people are going to, so they have to get eyeballs. And the more this merger, the bigger they are, the more they're going to need to cater to a wider audience to grow the brand.
The administration's goal is essentially they don't want basically Warner Brothers movie studio or anything like that, or Discovery Network. They want CNN. They want
I don't believe that.
No, White House particularly hates CNN.
Oh, White House.
Oh, the White.
Yes, and therefore they want Paramount to take it over because of the Ellison father and son team, just like they took over CBS, and now Barry Weiss is running CBS News with a decidedly conservative bent, or else you wouldn't have Erica Kirk on CBS News. He wanted to destroy CNN by turning into Fox News 2. That's what it is. This is a very expensive revenge plot.
True. I think there is that, but what I was saying.
But monopoly is also the other thing too.
But again, Netflix has a very vested interest. Their most popular content is Warner Brothers Studios content. So by them owning it as opposed to leasing it they're coming out ahead right away. So
and the investors in Netflix and the other studios we're talking about, like you said, Jeff, it's in their best interest for the company to be successful. So even if they're red or right wing, they're going to want their investments to be successful.
I'm about to say red in business means something a little different, but now I hear there's also the owning of all the content. That's what they're trying to see. One company's trying to like rule them all, sort of thing. Like one company would love to own all the content, and that's like the big problem right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We can't have Disney owning everything. So.
To be determined. So, LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up entertainment. Armistead Maupin remembers Rock Hudson, his charm, and that legendary penis. Author Armistead Maupin is sharing new memories of his friendship with Rock Hudson, decades after the star's death from AIDS-related complications. In a new video, Maupin recalls meeting Hudson in San Francisco and describes him as a very sweet man. He also joked that Hudson had a, quote, legendarily large penis. When Maupin felt intimidated, Hudson reassured him that he was just a regular guy. Maupin said Hudson, quote, seduced the world through kindness and care. Great story. Definitely check out the Rock Hudson documentary. There's, I think, interviews with Armistead Maupin in that, and we'll get to hear a lot about the gay lifestyle of Rock Hudson was quite glamorous back in the day, and pool parties abounded at his place.
I mean, especially considering the times when
Yes.
it was when gay actors were forced to marry women to keep it to have a lavender marriage, so to speak, and of course the persecution of LGBTQ people was relentless back then.
Yeah.
I'm glad they carved out a little bit of privilege
Yes.
niche for him and his friends, but at the end of the day, it was, let's not look at the past with rose-tinted glasses.
Yeah, definitely.
And also, do we really need to, I mean, Armistead has become now the, living depository of gay oral history. And I do mean oral in every sense of the word, since we're now talking about, an old movie actor's dick.
I was about to say, I don't think we're talking about rose-tinted glasses. I think we're talking about penis, gigantic Rock Hudson penis. That's hilarious. And you are so brave, Jeff, to do this story and to bring this to our viewers. Thank you.
I do anything for the news. It's all for the news.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News, let's queer up entertainment. Billie Eilish sparks debate after sharing AI images of herself as a man. Billie Eilish is facing backlash after posting AI-generated images of herself as a man on Instagram stories. The 23-year-old bad guy song singer shared multiple looks, sparking mixed reactions. Some fans praised the male version's looks, while others criticized the post. One wrote, "Billie hates AI, yet she shares AI pics to her stories that are watched by millions." In 2024, Eilish signed an open letter opposing AI in music. Earlier this year, she also debunked viral AI Met Gala images. For what it's worth, many will agree the male version of Billie is a sight for sore eyes. Well, I will say, I do think there's a slight difference in taking AI to take an image of yourself and change it versus completely just stealing someone else's copyright. I do think that's a little different. I know no one agrees with me, that's fine.
No,
but
I agree with
I'll also say there is also what Billie's doing, this positive, people who are questioning their gender do sometimes look at these images of ways to decide whether or not they want to transition. I remember TikTok had this filter phase in 2019, 2020. I tried it. I did not like the male or female versions of me. They both freaked me out tremendously. But some people, it's a positive, empowering experience, and we shouldn't attack them for it.
It's the future, depending on how it's driven. And I get these feeds that I don't know how. I don't use AI extensively, but I'm getting these offers. Why don't you try this and see what hairstyle looks good on you? And then the model or the AI generated model has 50 looks. And it's really eye-opening to think what the possibilities are.
All right, you can do the filters on things like TikTok. I could be a 19-year-old girl, and you would have no idea if I was actually the 19-year-old girl, what I currently look like, or a 700-pound man. Could be,
and you could alter your voice.
Right,
and
even on YouTube, the viewers have no idea if this is what I really look like. I'm prettier in real life.
I'm sure, but Billie Eilish as a boy do give some emo realness, with the black spiked hair and the eyeshadow. Very emo boy, circa 2000s.
So AI Billie, good guy.
Yeah.
Got it.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up the USA View. Pam Bondi accused in leaked memo of urging FBI bounties on trans activists. A leaked memo suggests U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi instructed the FBI to place cash bounties on trans activists promoting what she called radical gender ideology. The document proposes a cash reward system to identify alleged domestic terrorist groups. Civil rights groups are alarmed. The ACLU called the plan, quote, a fever dream of conspiracies, end quote, built on, quote, outright falsehoods, end quote. Well, she's just a sickening person. I mean, God knows what happened in her growing up, but she's just a red hot mess, as they say. I'm appalled, as a big supporter, and, I support, trans, cultural art, and, I work for, I volunteer for Mary It's Mary Productions on the side of my day job. And I'm just totally appalled that there are people like this. And, when I talk to some people, relatives in the Northeast who unfortunately are on the right, they're not getting what's going on in our country. And when I talk about it, there's excuses beyond excuses. So we need to really keep our eyes open and support, our trans brothers and sisters.
Exactly. And, it's hard because on the one hand, it's nice that this is like now the fourth different way the government thinks I'm either a terrorist or an enemy of the state. But at the same time, this is also very serious, and it reminds us of just how problematic, one, our federal government is, but also the whole bail bondsman and bounty hunter system in the United States is actually really screwed up, and this is just reminding us of all these different parts of the aspects of our injustice system.
Yeah, these people will one day be trading cards of people that have committed crimes against human rights. So I think we need to remember we're living through a very, very unique time where people will look back on all these people, and I do believe they will not play well in history, and probably neither will Pam Bondi's hair.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up politics. Trump adds insulting plaques under Obama and Biden White House portraits. Donald Trump has installed new bronze plaques underneath White House portraits that attack former Democratic presidents Barack Obama and Joe Biden. The Independent reports that Biden's portrait was replaced with an image of an auto pan with a plaque calling him Sleepy Joe and claiming a severe mental decline. Obama's plaque labels him one of the most divisive political figures in American history. Critics say the move turns presidential history into political mockery. As the Independent noted, quote, the Trump administration has taken no shame in using its prominence to troll the opponents of Trump through social media, speeches, and other means, end quote. This is not just trolling anymore. I mean, this is not trolling, really. I mean, who has access to that particular part of White House? Not that many people. This is just basically to assuage the ego of one occupant of that particular White House. And that's it. And taxpayer money is being spent to essentially soothe the ego of that particular person.
On the one hand, presidents have used the White House however they want in their own images, from having a giant thing of cheese to creating a rose garden. And on the one hand, like what he said about Obama, absolutely appalling. What he said about Joe Biden, no, it's a good job. But otherwise, this is just a guy who's just so far gone. I don't even think we have a real person in the White House anymore.
I can't wait till we have a Democratic back in the White House, and we can put under Trump's picture, bless his heart, that'll just bless his heart.
Aren't you special?
Yes.
Oh my God, the amount of decluttering we have to do in the White House.
All that gold.
Well,
we're going to have to tear down that crappy building he's building.
Yeah. You mean that warehouse he calls a ballroom?
Yes.
Yeah.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up gay culture. Grindr pushes deeper into AI with promises and pushback. Grindr says it's doubling down on artificial intelligence. In a Wired interview, CEO George Arison said Grindr wants to become an AI-first business. Using AI could solve, quote, some of the world's most difficult problems that gay people face, including limited dating pools. He said with consent, AI could explain why it made sense to message someone. The shift follows backlash over opt-out AI training notices. Arison also wants Grindr to expand into sexual health, saying of PrEP, quote, you should be able to order it through the app as well, end quote. I mean, listen, we're all aware that we're not going to be able to escape AI in any way, shape, or form. Obviously, Grindr is an online platform, so it's no surprise that they're using it. I don't know how effective it will be in identifying what could be a potential match, but, listen, it's up for grabs.
I am fascinated on how they might use large language models to tell me who would and wouldn't match with me. I'm not looking anymore, so but the more weird issue is the selling PrEP. One, you're not a healthcare provider, you're not a pharmacy, but also hasn't Grindr had the occasional data breach over the years? Do we really want them to have people's mailing addresses for PrEP? Is that a good idea?
Yeah, no, it's a bad idea. And also, I think we covered a story a couple of weeks ago about queer LGBTQ people seeking companionship through AI. And, ChatGPT is free. I'm just saying, no one is going to pay for premium services so that you can chat with Grindr AI.
Never
But
say never.
You've just shown what might be the beginning of a bubble bursting with that word, but you look into.
These are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. Our anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ family.
If our community is important to you, share these news with your friends and family. Don't forget to join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots magazine, happening on our television network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Jeff Oliverio, and I thank you for joining us. And on behalf of my fellow LGBTQ anchors here at Queer News Tonight, Alex Morash, Larry Farver, and Dr. Bobby Huen. We'll see you daily at 8 p.m. Into our LGBTQ plus world. We wish you good night.
Bye.